So I say we start. Welcome to Region Training once again. We're excited that you're all here, and we're excited to have this training for you. Just a couple housekeeping items on the list. Lacey's discussion about healthy food drives is up on the YouTube channel. Jocelyn made a region training playlist, so you can just go to that playlist and all of these trainings will be added there. Also, if you have not given Amalia your home mailing address, make sure you do that today. She's going to send you out a book to read for a future training. So make sure you do that today, please. Also, earlier in the week, Christy sent out an email with a Google form to fill out about frequently asked questions that you might get in classes. If you could do that, take a few minutes today to fill that out, or early next week. We'd really appreciate getting those responses back as soon as possible. Just a reminder to always check your email and Facebook for reminders and updates during this time. And I just wanted to say thank you for having such a positive attitude with this new norm. You guys have jumped in and really done an awesome job, and it's been fun to see. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your awesome personalities and your great attitude. Okay, so today's training, I'm super excited. We have Marta Nilsson with us today. She's going to teach us a little more about Facebook Lives, and then Jocelyn is going to take a few minutes after she's done, and then Casey will take a few minutes after that. So if you don't know Marta, Marta is amazing. She's been with USU Extension, the marketing team, for about 4 years. She works on the Live Well Utah blog. She helps develop online courses, and she does live video production and a bunch more. She graduated from U of U, so we won't hold that against her, but she loves being an honorary Aggie, and she has degrees in urban planning and environmental studies, but somehow ended up in the crazy world of social media marketing. And she does an awesome job. If you've ever been on the extension page with the Facebook Lives, she's the one behind the scenes and sometimes in front of the camera doing those, which is awesome. She lives in Murray with her family, and just like you, we all have our kids home with us. So if you see kids running through the background during the Zoom meeting, just know that she's at home with her 4- and 7-year-old as well. And we can see Casey's in the background right now. So yay. All right, Marta, so you are up.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you today. And I have shared PowerPoint on Zoom before, but it's been a little while, so bear with me for a moment while I get that pulled up. Let me share my screen. All right. I just did a Facebook Live this morning, so it's fresh on my mind. Okay. All right. Now, if anyone has their microphone on, can you see can you see my presentation? Give me a nod or a yes.
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. So I have a longer version of this presentation that I've done before that starts with talking about the why of live video. But we're cutting right to the chase here because I know that so many of you are in the position now where, like it or not, this is what you're doing. And so we don't need to talk about why you should do it. We're just going to talk about how to do it. I'm going to see if I can open up the comments real quick because I would love to see if there are any chats from you. Let me know in the chat if you have done a live video before. I'm curious. I've seen, I think, 1 or 2 from your group this week with everything that's been going on, and that's really awesome. That's so cool. So let me know in the comments. Also, if you have questions as we go, pop them in the group chat. I say comments because I'm used to doing Facebook Live, and that's what you do. Put it in the chat, and we'll get to those at the end. I did pre-collect some questions, which we'll address at the end, and then we'll open it up. If you have more questions, we can talk about that. And I am happy to do one-on-one Zoom meetings with you or email back and forth. If you want more, just reach out to me. That's what I love to do, is help empower you all to connect with people on social media. So let's get right down to it. See, oh, there we go. So you're going to do a Facebook Live. Here are some of the things you need to do as you prepare for it, or that you can do. These are optional, of course. One thing that I like to do is create a graphic that kind of captures what the Facebook Live will be about. So I use Canva. Super simple, easy to use. There are lots of great templates that you can use. I try and keep the text minimal, just what the Facebook Live is about. I know you guys have really specific titles you have to use for your classes sometimes, but just a short title, Facebook Live, the time and the day that you'll be doing it. This you can use on social media. You can share it on Instagram, on Facebook. You can use it in emails, anywhere that you want to advertise your Facebook Live. The next thing you're going to want to do, now Facebook, you may, if you've played around with this at all, you might have seen something about scheduling a live video. Now, if you want to do that, schedule it in advance, you have to use a third-party software. And for the purpose of this presentation, I'm not really going to talk about the third-party software because we're just going to talk, there's my little guy knocking on the door. We're just going to talk about producing live video from your phone or directly opening Facebook on your browser and going live from there. So if you have questions about the third-party browser thing, send me an email. We can talk about that. There is a cost to them. So for this group, we won't spend a lot of time talking about that. So you can't schedule it in advance unless you're using that third party. So you have to think of another way of advertising your Facebook Live and letting people know about it. So you can do two things. You can create a Facebook event. You can use your graphic there and just, the date and time, just like you do for a normal class. Hold on. Hey, Ezra, I'm busy right now. Come back later. He's persistent. That's the 4-year-old. So a Facebook event, you can also create a Facebook post. Now, your post, you may want to pre-collect questions. So, hey, I'm going live on Friday. Maybe you're doing this a week before, or I like to do it, like I always go live on Fridays, but you can determine when you want to do that. So I do this on Monday and not the Friday before, but the Monday before. So I'm going live on Friday and we're talking about creating healthy meals from your pantry while you're self-isolating at home. Say that's what we're going to talk about. What are your questions about this topic? And then people can answer or type their questions on your post. And that can help you have content and things to talk about in your life. And also hopefully draw those people who have asked a question, they'll want to come back and watch. And it kind of announces that Facebook Live. Now with the event, you'll create it as if it's an in-person event, but it's a Facebook Live. And what you'll want to do is when you actually do go live, you'll want to have a helper, because you won't be able to do it while you're live. You won't want to be like on your phone, or Facebooking while you're trying to produce a live video. So have a helper, someone, a colleague, or someone who can take the link of your live. So right after you start, grab that link and share it to the Facebook event, so that if people have marked that they're going, they'll get a little notification. Oh, hey, here's the link. Someone's posted a comment in the event. Here's the link to the live and they can tune in and watch. Okay, so that's 1 week before. You may also want to do an email announcement. So if you have a newsletter that you send out or a mailing list of people that you would share about your in-person classes, you can also share in the same way about Facebook Live classes and use that graphic there, and also share it personally. So on your personal Facebook, your personal Instagram, whatever you're doing, let people know that's your, in some ways, your built-in fan club already as you're just getting started. People who know you and like you and will support you as you do this. So the morning of, here's some things you might want to do. Post to Instagram stories. So I did this today. If you go to USU Extension's Instagram, I did a quick little story just saying, hey, we're going live this morning. If you want to join us, it helps to add text to that story so that if people are watching with the sound off, they can still get the information of what you're doing, where, and what time. And that can just kind of drive some traffic, especially if you've set your stories on Instagram to automatically publish to Facebook. Then you've got it in both places and you can maybe draw in some more people that way. You can also send a reminder email the morning of. Don't forget, join us live today at this time. Let's see. There we go. Also staging the background. Now you don't have to have a Studio 5 set. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you might want to do a little bit of cleanup, tidying up, making sure that things look halfway decent before you go live, just so you don't look back at it and think, oh, why didn't I put that away? Or why didn't I move this or that? You may also want to draft your script or outline. Now with your classes, you maybe have already done that far in advance. One tip I'll have is don't read something word for word, which I'm sure you don't do in your classes anyway, but just make it more organic. That's why I say outline in addition to script, because you don't want it to be word for word, more of just an outline to remind you of what you want to cover and talk about. And maybe it's, you know, a sticky note of a reminder, like don't forget to do this, and you stick it on your you know, the side of your monitor so you see that reminder and don't forget to mention it. And also remind your friends just on your personal newsfeed. All right. Now, about 15 minutes before you're ready to go live, you want to make sure everything is set up. And for you folks, that might include, you know, all of your, if you're doing a cooking demonstration, you might need more than 15 minutes to get set up. But for me, you know, I make sure my microphone is working, my, if I'm wearing headphones, that those are connected, if I'm using any kind of additional lighting, or just making sure, you know, okay, do I have enough lighting? Do I need to open the curtains or whatever you need to do to make sure it's set up? If you're using an external camera, making sure that's connected and everything with the computer is talking, communicating with each other and working properly. You can also start to set up your live video in Facebook. So you can open up Facebook on your phone or your computer and start to set up the title and the description and get that all set up. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like. I'll show you exactly what that looks like in both places. So I'm just looking at questions really quick. I see a few of you have done Facebook Lives before or recorded videos and then posting to Facebook. That's awesome. And Rachel says, do we have to advertise for a week before or sooner? A week before is great. I think especially as you try and treat these as a regular class, like an online version of a live class, giving people a week is a really good idea. But I would just kind of revert to some of your traditional, the other ways that you've been advertising these classes. Obviously not like paper flyers, but if you've been emailing people about your in-person classes, email them about your live video. If you've been creating Facebook events, create a Facebook event, and just advertise the day and time and where you'll be going live from. All right, now once it's showtime, here's what you need to do. So this is kind of what I was saying. You can start doing this 15 minutes before. If you are on a computer, open up the Facebook page where you want to go live. And you can see right at the top where it says create, there's a little button that says live, and you'll just want to click that button. And then don't worry, it doesn't immediately send you live right then. You get to set things up. So you enter in the top description. That's what shows up above the post. Like, hey there, we're live during the conversation. I like to throw in some emojis that kind of catches people's eyes. And that's where you've got your microphone and your camera settings. And the title, that's what will show up as the video title once it goes into your Facebook video library. So that's kind of the difference between the description and the title. The description, you might have a little bit more information that will draw people in, and then the title is more succinct. And you can also add tags there as well. And then you can see at the bottom, there's that blue button on the right side that says go live. So once you're ready to go, that's where you click go live. And you can see the background. This is not the background that I use when I go live. This is just my office. You can see the stormtrooper in the back. So if I were actually going live, I definitely would open that and think, okay, I need to change my camera angle, maybe pull up a table and turn my computer around so that I have a cleaner background for my live video. Now, here's how you would set it up from your phone. And we'll talk about later when you'd want to use a phone and when you would want to use a computer. Now, this first photo, things have changed a little bit. You know, the app is constantly updating it. On my phone, it does not look like this anymore. But you just go to the page where you plan to go live. However you want to get there, you can use search, however you want to find your page. So go to your page where you plan to go live, and you can see where it says what's on your mind, and then there is the little button underneath that says live, and you just tap that, and then it usually pulls up a selfie camera, which you can switch if you're filming someone else. You can switch that. Also make sure before you go live, you have to make sure it's the correct orientation before you start, because if you start your live video with vertical video, you have to stay vertical the whole time. And if you start horizontal, you have to stay horizontal the whole time. So kind of just make sure with that, that it's the way you want it to be before you start your live video. So here you don't have as many options as when you're setting it up on your computer. Like you don't enter a video title, you just enter the description. Where that red arrow is pointing is where you type your description. You can use emojis, and that's really all you have to do. And then you click start live video. So here are some tips for while you're live to hopefully set you up for success. The first thing you want to do is greet your replay viewers, say hello, because most people will not see the first 10 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes of your video. They're, as much as we like to think we have a captive audience, they're probably not waiting there with bated breath with our page open waiting for us to go live. So just acknowledge you may not want to jump directly right when you start, because most people will miss those first few seconds, first few minutes. So, take a minute at the beginning, say hello, introduce yourself, and you can greet those replay viewers, because they will be the ones who will actually see the first part of your video. Okay. Another thing you can do is stack the deck a little bit with some friends. So if you've got colleagues that can support you at this time, or family members, I can't tell you how many times I've done a live video with an agent and I see a comment pop up with their same last name. I'm like, oh, is your mom watching the video? And I don't say that in the video, but it's kind of fun to see, their support system showing up in the comments and supporting them. And ask them, hey, will you like this? Will you respond to the questions that I'm prompting people with during the live video? That kind of just gets the conversation going and helps your video perform better within the algorithm as Facebook sees engagement and interaction. So it could be colleagues, it could be family members, just anyone that you can get to come and support you in your live video. Okay. Ask easy win questions. This is a really great tool for engagement. So, hey, where are you tuning in from? Or things people just can't help but answer. Like, do you like tacos or burritos better? Or whatever that might be. Find we call them like trigger points for your audience in a good way. Good trigger points where for some audience, I follow someone who talks about tacos all the time, and their audience loves it, and they send this person taco memes and all kinds of stuff. Or for some people, it's every time their dog walks into the video, people go crazy and, oh, is that your dog, and what's their name, and all kinds of stuff. So find those things that get people talking with your audience, and maybe it's food related questions, like tacos. You can ask yes or no questions, things that will be easy for people to answer, so that they'll be more likely to do it. Responding to comments and questions. This is really important to keep kind of one eye on the comments and questions as they come in, but you don't want to stop mid-sentence to answer a question. So kind of as you're creating your outline, work in pauses and breaks so that you can address questions as they come in, or as if it's timely to what you're talking about, you can answer, or you can save them for the end, but just kind of be aware of that. So you see the comments coming in, you're giving people shout outs and acknowledging them, but at times that are appropriate within your class so it's not interrupting. All right, watch the replay. Some people don't realize that they can watch your live video after the fact, or if they missed it, they can still watch it. So when you finish your live video, it will ask you if you want to keep your post or not. It'll just be a pop-up window, and always keep it. It'll just go into your Facebook video library. So I try and remind people of that. Hey, if you're just tuning in and you missed the beginning where we talked about this and this and this, you can see the whole video after we're finished here in our Facebook video library. Things like that, just reminding people. They can find it there. Don't forget to smile. I've seen Amanda Christensen in Morgan do trainings before about how you have to be so much more animated on video. And I don't know that I am crazy animated in video, but try and smile and, keep your eyes wide and sit forward in your chair, be engaged so that you'll be engaging for other people to watch. Don't hold back from getting a little bit personal. Facebook Live is one way that we can connect with people. It's not the same as an in-person class because it almost feels like one-on-one, like I am talking to you. And so don't be afraid to bring in personal stories, or I'm surprised my 4-year-old hasn't come in here and said hello to you all. And if that happens, it's okay. Don't stress about it. It's a more casual form of video where people want to see the real version of you and something more personal. And I do see your questions coming in, and we will get to those. Oops. We'll get to those. I'm almost finished here. All right, this one is so hard, you guys. Don't touch. And I'm not perfect. And this is so funny and timely now with COVID-19. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your hair. As a glasses wearer, this one is so hard for me because if my glasses move down even just a little bit, I definitely want to push them up. And, it's almost a reflex. And you don't have to be perfect, but just try and be aware of it. And try not to, scratch your nose or adjust your clothes. Make sure that everything is in place before you start. On the matter of clothes, wear something that's going to be comfortable. When we do live video in my office and we shut the door, it gets really warm. And so I try and warn people, don't wear a big thick sweater, even if it's winter, because you will roast. It will get really hot and you won't be comfortable. So wear clothing that is comfortable. There's been argument back and forth of should you wear something with the logo or not. You can if you want, and I'm sure that you guys have your own standards of what you are supposed to wear or not, but be aware that in your frame the logo may be cut off. And then, I've had some agents wear it's a white t-shirt that says USU extension, and that gets cut off, and then it just looks like they're wearing a white t-shirt, or wearing a logoed polo shirt, but they have long hair and the long hair covers the logo. So, you'll have to consult with your group on what your standards will be for what to wear on Facebook Live. But for me, I just try and wear something that looks professional, that is comfortable for me. I stay away from like small patterns that don't read very well on camera. I am a very pale person, and so things that will wash me out, just kind of being aware of things like that. And you can test that out. Just open up, like a Zoom video and see, okay, how does this look on camera? And make that call. All right, after the show, when you get to celebrate, okay, this is where my Jimmy Fallon GIF comes in. Like I said, the longer version of this presentation has a whole Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show story at the beginning, so you'll see some of that pop up through here. But here's some things that I like to do after the video. So you may want to edit the video description. When I'm first setting it up, I might say, we're live right now talking about this, but after the fact, you might want to say, check out this, video to learn how to do this, this, and this. So you may want to change some of that wording after the fact. You can also edit the thumbnail. Facebook will pick a picture from your video that shows up as the thumbnail in your video library. And I'm lucky, it's always me with like my eyes closed or something very unflattering. So you can you can click edit on the video and go in and select. They'll give you a choice of like 25 different images, and you can select which thumbnail you want. You can also upload a thumbnail. So if you have the forethought to take a picture of, if if you're doing a cooking demonstration, take a picture of the final product or something, you can upload that as your thumbnail as well. If you want to, you can boost the replay, put a little bit of money so that it gets in front of more eyes. You can share the replay in other places. So if on sister pages or in Facebook groups, wherever you want to get that message out. You can also download videos from Facebook. You can download your live video and then upload that to YouTube if you want to do that. You can include it in a newsletter like, hey, if you missed it, we were live and this is what we talked about. Here's a link to it. And also caffeinate. I've already got I told you I did a live video today, so I've got my at-home treat since I'm not going to my favorite drink shop this week. Let's see if I can there we go. All right, so my next advice is to just go for it. If you hate the way you look, sound, or come across on video, join the club. So does everyone else in the world. But you guys are teachers. That's what you do. This is not that different. You're just teaching it in a little bit of a different way. If you feel like you need some practice, there are a lot of different ways you can do that. Facebook store, or not Facebook, I guess you could. Instagram and Facebook stories are a great way because it goes away after 24 hours. So if you didn't love it, it just goes away. You can also start a live video on your page or even your personal Facebook and set your audience to only me. So that way, no one else can see it. You can practice. You can get out all your flubs, and you can even delete it when it's done. But find some ways to practice and just go for it. Just try it. Your first one probably won't be great, and that's okay. That's how we show our authentic selves and get personal with our audience. And if you have questions, of course, like I said, please reach out and I'm happy to help and support you in any way that I can. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the questions that were sent to me in advance, and we'll go through some of the questions that have come in the chat. Statistics, Facebook Live statistics. So after your live, you can get in and see how your video performed. And so I'm just defining what a few of these statistical terms mean according to Facebook. So you might see reach. Reach is the number of people who saw your post at least once. So they kind of will give you two tabs. One is like your post and one is your video. So I guess like one is what shows up in the news feed. I wish I were a total expert on that, but I'm not. But that's what reach means. People who saw your post at least once. Views is the number of distinct people who viewed the video on your post at least once. 3-second views is the number of times your video played for at least 3 seconds. So that might be people scrolling through and they see 3 seconds of it. And maybe they watch more and maybe they keep scrolling, but at least 3 seconds. Oops, sorry about that. Oh man, you guys, there we go. Engagement. So engagement is a combination score of the likes, comments, and shares that your video got. And some of those comments and likes may have come from a share. So someone shares your video and it gets a comment. That comment doesn't show up on your original post or your original video, but it still counts that comment in your statistics. So that's kind of what those terms mean. The statistics that I find really meaningful and valuable are the number of live views. I really like to look at that. To me, that shows how many people were interested enough to watch this live. And some of them do really well and some of them don't. And that's okay because you also get a great number of views on replay, or you can. So, that's where you can look at minutes viewed, like how many total minutes of your video were viewed. And you can also look at like average watch time. So, okay, so people watched for 3 minutes and then they stopped watching, or they were really engaged and they watched it all the way to the end. So you can kind of gauge your content, and hopefully that will inform future classes that you do or future Facebook Lives, and may determine what you do a little bit. Okay, here's some more questions from you. How do we get audience interactions? Okay, that's tricky. Sometimes I just get crickets. Sometimes people have lots of questions and comments. It totally just depends. And some of that depends on how many are viewing live. Um, so, like I said, try and ask those easy win questions, things that people can't help but respond to, and yes or no questions, things like that. Um, that's a great way to get interaction and engagement. Um, you can also invite them. This is not necessarily an interaction, but it is engagement. Like, hey, like this video you know, if you love to cook with fresh vegetables, or I don't know, whatever would apply to your topic. You can also just say, hey, we'd really love to get this, to help more people see this. If you wouldn't mind giving it a like or sharing this video, we'd really appreciate it. Another question was, where is the best place to set up? I think really you can set up anywhere. I try and go somewhere. I'm sitting right next to a window. I try and go somewhere with natural light. That's ideal, especially if you don't have a huge studio where you can record. You have to work with what you have, or places where you have minimal background noise. I mean, I'm in a bedroom with the door shut and I can still hear my little kids in the background, which is not ideal, but that's the best that I can do at this point when we're all home. So just try and maximize what you do have, maximize noise control, lighting, things like that. And also, where you have a clean background. Or you might, if you're doing a cooking demonstration, it might make the most sense to set up in your kitchen, and that's what you need to do. Which is better, phone or laptop? That's a great question. I think that really depends on what kind of live video you're creating. So if I'm doing like a talking head video or an interview style video, then I use my laptop and we just sit and we chat. But if I'm doing more of a demonstration type video, then I will use my cell phone, because then I have more mobility and I can change camera angle and move around and follow the person who's cooking. So you may want to recruit, if you're doing that type of video, you may want to recruit a helper to be your camera person and to help feed you questions as you're busy cooking or doing it, whatever you're doing. If you are using a laptop, I guess this is kind of getting to a later question too. You may decide you want to prop it up a little bit so that you get a better camera angle. I did see a question come in. Usually an angle from the bottom is not the most flattering. I try and do, oh, sorry about my desk, as straight on as I can get. Is is a good angle. And it's so tricky, like cooking food. I've done a couple Facebook Lives showing canning demonstrations. Kathy came to Salt Lake and did one. Melanie has done some. You need different angles, so I would really recommend phone for that. Private Facebook Live. Oh, you guys, I'm struggling today. There we go. So today I did a Facebook Live in a group, which is somewhat private in that only members of the group can join, but it's not totally private because people can see who's in the group, and you can, it's maybe not the level of privacy that you would need for your classes. So if you need that level of privacy, my recommendation is probably not to do Facebook Live, but maybe try something like a Zoom webinar, where you can stream a class live and people can join in, but it's anonymous. They can't see who else is in the meeting. Not just a Zoom meeting, but a Zoom webinar, which is like a Zoom meeting, but you set it up a little bit differently. Marketing live video. Like I mentioned before, if you think about the ways you were marketing your in-person classes, are you sending emails? Are you creating Facebook events? Can you create a graphic and post that as a post on social media, telling people about your Facebook Live and inviting them to join. Just those same ways, especially as we try and do everything digitally. Just think about those ways that you can do that. And how do I set up my computer to get the best light or best view? Again, try and get natural light. Work with what you can. Prop up your computer if you need to. Adjust, if you've got a laptop, you can adjust, the monitor to get different angles and frame your background differently. But again, make sure that the window's not behind you so you're not in silhouette. I try and have I turn on the light in the room, I have the window, and I actually have a ring light in my office as well. And if you guys want equipment recommendations, send me an email and I'll tell you about some of the things that I use. Now I'm going to go to the chat and try and get through some of these questions that we've had come through. Okay. All right, Kathy says, if we use our phone to record, what's the best angle? Yeah, I think straight on or a little bit above, if you can. That's tricky if you're filming yourself as just, if it's just a talking head, that's fine. I would recommend with your phone trying to, if you can, use a tripod and a phone holder. Those are fairly inexpensive and you can find those on Amazon, or set it up, on a shelf or on your desk so that you don't get camera shake. Straight on or a little bit above will be the most flattering, of course. Get our selfie game on. Let's see. Helping your adult audience connect with the subject. That's a good question. I think that's a little bit of a different approach than we usually take to Facebook Live, coming from, the marketing angle. Is we're trying to come up with content that people already will connect with. So I think, you guys have a different mission in your Facebook Lives. And so I think as you think about who your audience is, get really specific. So think about that ideal avatar. I don't know if Mike Whitesides has come and talked to you guys about that before, but what is it, a male or female? How old are they? Where do they live? Do they have a family? How old are their kids? What do they do for a living? All those, get super specific so that as you're trying to come up with that answer, you can think of almost like a specific person and really personalize it. And like I said, it's like you're talking to the one person. Yeah, that's a really great question, Christy. Laura says, how long is the video recommended? We have done so many different lengths. Lately, we've been trying to do 20-minute videos. It just depends. I think don't make it longer than it needs to be. Make it like a kilt. So it's long enough to cover what's important, but short enough to keep people interested. I think 20 minutes is a really good, 20 to 30 is a good guideline. We have done them up to an hour. Usually those are our question and answers where we are getting a lot of live questions coming in, and it takes us an hour to get through all of those. Recommended time of day, AM or PM. There is a way where you can look on Facebook and see when your audience is most active. And I can't give you specific instructions on that off the top of my head, but I can look that up and get back to you on that, because that's a good way to determine it. But the best advice I have for when is the best time to do a live video is when it's convenient for you. Because if it's not a convenient time, you won't do it, right? In my video trainings, they usually talk about doing it consistently. So set up a consistent day of the week at the same time so that people kind of know when to expect to see a video coming from you. So if you are doing that, make sure you're choosing a time that's convenient for you. Okay. All right. Once you started recording, can you switch the camera from front to back? Yes, you can. You just can't switch the orientation. Kathy had to hop off. Thanks, Kathy, for tuning in. Let's see. Rachel says, is there a length of time for live food demonstrations that you'd recommend? My question would be how long do you need? I've done a couple food demonstrations on KSL, which on Studio 5, which is a little bit different, but you have to use your TV magic. So like you make the dish 3 times so that you can show the prep work and then the middle and the finished product. So I would suggest kind of doing some of that so that people don't have to sit there while something is cooking, unless you have enough questions coming in that while you're sauteing vegetables, you can be answering questions. So I think some of that you'll have to kind of play it out by ear and see what's going to work for you and what will keep your audience interested and engaged. I wouldn't have any silent time where you're just cooking, and be prepared maybe with some, like, you can make up your own questions. I mentioned before, you can pre-collect questions. If no one submits any questions, you can make up your own and say, all right, here are the questions I'm going to answer today. How do you do this? And what's the best way to do that? So just keep the conversation going, even if you're just having a conversation with yourself while you're live, because you want it in the replay to still be engaging. Okay. You mentioned to choose the page you want to do the video on. Do you have to do Facebook Live from a specific group page, or can it be on your main Facebook news feed? So you can go live like from news feed, but that would be, so Becky was asking that question, that would be Becky going live. So if you want your page to be going live, you need to go to that page. So for the pages I go live from are, Utah State University Extension. I on my phone, go to Utah State University Extension Facebook, go live from there, which it's kind of their feed. I hope that answered your question, Becky. Yeah, you don't have to go live within a Facebook group, if that was your question. I've only done that one time. I think from the page is better. Laurie says, how do you make it so a booklet or recipe page is not backward to viewers? That's a good question. I would not try and like hold up a booklet or a recipe page for someone to like read the recipe on a live video. I would post a link to it in the comments. That's the way that I would handle that.
There's a setting on the phones that allow you to switch whether it's going to mirror that or not too. So,
right.
And that varies depending on what phone you have.
Right. Good idea. Good idea there.
But also,
Okay.
I think it's a really good idea to tell him to come back to your page and you'll have it there for him. So that'll keep the coming back and forth to the Facebook page too. Because they're probably not going to catch the visual of the recipe in the moment.
Right. And yeah, I try and say, I'll post this resource in the comments and keep, make sure you're providing links and everything that people will need right there, so that if they're watching, they can just find that really quickly and easily. Okay. Kaylee says, if we're reading a book to children, that makes sense. If you're like reading a story. So again, check your camera settings to see if you can.
Or even your create on your apron that you wear. That will show up backwards or frontwards, depending on the setting on your phone.
The setting on your phone, if you're doing like selfie view. Yeah, for sure. All right. I think I got through all those questions in the group chat.
Hey, Marta, would you recommend if they were going to like post resources in the feed, like a link to it or the actual resource, should they like have that set up beforehand so they can refer back to it so they're not trying to do it while they're...
I do not do it while I'm live. So I'll do that 2 ways. Either I ask someone, I'll email someone in advance like, hey, while I'm live, will you post these links? Or I'll just, as soon as I'm done, I'll go back and do it. I'll go back and post those comments, or I'll respond to sometimes I'll answer the question live in the video, and I'll also type an answer in the comments. So it takes a little bit of follow-up in the comments, but it's worked really well.
Great, thank you.
So I just want to mention on the length of class. So because of our guidelines, we have been told what a length of a class is, and that even includes if we're online. So a class with quotation marks on the outside is 30 minutes or more. So that is our aim for a class, but we have mentioned that we can do little snippets. And so just note that that's where we're heading.
Okay. And I think 30 minutes would be a great time frame. And you can look at, like I said, you can look at your statistics and see where people's attention is dropping off. Like, okay, so I know that at 10 minutes, I need to like kind of ramp something up so that people will make it all the way to that 30 minutes. Paula says, can you record a live video and save it for a further date or time? It kind of defeats the purpose of live. That would not be a live video. It would just be a video. You can do that. But I think there are probably better ways that you can record that. You wouldn't need to use Facebook Live to do that. Any other questions?
Do you recommend, if it's live though, to save it to the page? Like at the end, it'll say, do you want to save and post to your page so people can go back and watch it? That would be a yes, right?
Yes, because if you say no, then it just disappears. Then it's just gone. I would at least save it, so then if you want to go in and download it, you can do that. And if you really thought it was terrible and didn't like it, you can always delete it later. But I would definitely publish it to your page.
And if someone does say, oh, that did not go well, and they delete it, do we lose all the analytics? Will that disappear with it, or will that stay in just as a removed file? Do you know?
That's a good question. I've never deleted a live video, so I'm not sure.
All right, we'll find out. Hopefully not.
You could, another way you could maybe do that also without losing any of the analytics is change the audience. I mentioned you can change the like you can say, I want this to only be followers or only me. Maybe change that. That's
after the fact?
Unpublishing it.
Oh, okay. Oh, but that could be afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you could do that afterward. Anyone else?
Kaylee added a little bit to her comment down there. She said she's on the Facebook page on my phone now and can't seem to find the live option.
Okay, Kaylee, so it's just the same window that you would use to post a status update.
Okay, this is my phone. So a status update, like create a post?
Mm-hmm. Should be.
Okay, I see it now. Thank you.
On mine's, so mine says create a post. I can't even see myself on here, so I can't see what I'm showing you. Mine says create a post, and right underneath it says live.
Okay, I think I found it. It says
but if you
live.
type create a post, there's also a live video icon here as well. So there are a couple of ways you can do that.
Thank you.
And I did send out written instructions that followed what Marta has actually talked about. So if you can always watch this video again, but you can also go through those steps that came out. Actually, Heidi sent them out, but they had some go here, then go here, they'll go here, and then there were some screenshots that hopefully can guide you through.
Yeah, and beware of changes to the app. It's always changing, but if you can make it to your page, then you can go live, no problem.
Okay, are there any more questions for Marta? I was going to mention too, when Marta was talking about private classes, that was in reference to closed classes. For those of you that teach classes that have a closed group that are not open to the public, we're probably not going to go ahead and do live Facebook for those, but instead we'll orchestrate those through the Zoom app, which is free and available to our participants if they have technology, the same thing. But so if you have a class that you want to teach and that you're in a series, we're going to go ahead and migrate that to Zoom, and you should be able to communicate with your people and get them to close classes over Zoom. Facebook Live would be for all open to the public, open to anybody that can get on and watch. So if you're reviewing this film, the question about closed classes was referred to as private on this conversation.
Yes, and sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, on Zoom, we got the message, at least the county faculty did, that Ken wants WebEx. He said Zoom is fine for Create Better Health and our audience. If we meet with Ken, he wants WebEx. So we will continue to use Zoom with our audience so they don't have to have login information or any of that.
And Melanie is asking, do we need a special Zoom to do webinar style classes? Yes, I believe so. It's part of the paid version of Zoom. Mike Whitesides has used that. If you have more questions about Zoom webinar, I'd maybe reach out to him about that. And I have a bonus idea for you all. Have any of you participated in a Facebook Watch? You can chat in the comments, no's. Facebook Watch is a way you can take existing video content that you've already created and create like a showing. So say you record your class one time on Facebook Live or otherwise, you upload it. If it's not Facebook Live, you upload it to Facebook and it lives in your Facebook video library. You can create a watch party. So you are there, you can interact live with people in the comments while you're watching this video all at the same time, which is kind of a cool thing. And it gives you some of that live interaction side of things. If you want to do that with your audience as well. And you can queue up several videos. So if you had, like 3 10-minute videos, you could do it that way or however you like to do it. So that's kind of a fun tool as well to be able to make yourself available live to your audience to answer questions. And that's all I have. If you have more questions, I'm around. I would love to chat with you or email with you, whatever you need. I'm here for you.
Thank you so much, Marta. That's been exceptionally helpful. I think we're going to take off. I think people see that it's both doable and going to be pretty fun.
Well, I'm so excited to see all of your Facebook Lives. I think you guys are going to do so well. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, we will let you go, and we have a couple questions just on our end, and but you can be free to step off the meeting and go play with us.
Oh man, I don't know. I might hide out a little bit longer.
Oh, give him a treat. He was very, very good. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
So much.
Thanks, Marta.
All
right, Jocelyn, you're up.
Okay, I just need 2 minutes. We wanted to make sure that we think this is going to be really great and an option for you to reach people from the safety of your own homes or your extension kitchens. But we realize that this is new and that some of you may not literally have the resources or tools to accomplish this. And so I am asking that you will email Amalia and me and Heidi. You can email Amalia and then CC Heidi LeBlanc and Jocelyn Gibson, and just let us know what you personally need. Do you have a good functioning iPad? Do you have a smartphone? Do you have a tripod? You saw the email from from Amalia that if you need a little tripod, we can get those to you. But we want to make sure that you have the tools to broadcast from somewhere so you can offer these classes if this is something that you're interested in doing. I think the first time is going to be hard. It's going to be super scary. I should let Marianne and Laurie talk. They both have already done it, and Sarah, they jumped right on. But so I want you to let us know what you need so you can do it. And if you have everything available to you, then go ahead and give it a try. But if you're needing an iPad or whatever it is that you might need, Wi-Fi, let us know and we'll see what we can do. Okay?
Also along with that, I see that Marta's emails in our chat. Please don't email her. We don't want her to get a million emails. Go through us. Go through Jocelyn and the social marketing team, our media team, so that they can field the questions and we know what's being asked. Please, please, please email directly with us and we will reach out to Marta so that she's not overwhelmed with what might be happening here.
Okay. So again, just email Amalia and CC Heidi and me and let me know what you need. And, we're going to try and make this possible for you guys, and we'll see what we can do. So don't struggle along without the tools you need, but check your extension office, see what's available there, talk with your supervisor, and then let us know what your needs are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Casey?
Now you can tell them.
Hi, Eli.
Okay, we're gonna do a Facebook video with some create food.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah. Everyone pray for me. All right. So I'm sure you're all wondering about evaluation for these things or reporting for them. So my first disclaimer is we definitely don't have all of the details worked out yet. So I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what we're thinking and how to do it most easily for your Facebook Live classes. I think the most important thing that we can do, we recognize that we're not going to probably collect a whole lot of impact data, but we really want to make sure we can capture the reach of our program through these strange times. So I would say that's priority number 1. And then priority 2 would be to capture some intent to change from those that attend the classes. So we're going to look at just using the one-time survey for now, rather than trying to capture pre and post from participants. But I'll give a little bit more detail about that. Just to reiterate some of the discussion that happened while Marta was on. Our classes have to be 30 minutes, so we do have that time requirement. But maybe even more importantly is Claire. We have to have the nutrition topic, the physical activity component, and the cooking demonstration. So those 3 pieces do still need to be in the classes. As Heidi mentioned, we do have the option to do, just one of those pieces or shorter videos. Claire, it's too loud, baby. Sorry. And those would be indirect activities. So you can do just a cooking demo, or, I know some people have talked about doing good foods to have on hand and just having a cooking demo associated with that handout. So those types of things would be considered and reported as an indirect activity. So there's 2 different things you can do using Facebook Live. You can do adult or youth classes, as we've seen with Mariana and Sarah and Laurie's Facebook Live. So you can use our Create Better Health curriculum, the Captain Create, or Food, Fun, and Reading. Those are all options. Did that, okay. Reach, so Marta touched on reach a little bit, and gathering and reporting reach. Jocelyn and I are kind of working through some of the details. So as we figure those out, we'll send out detailed instructions on how to gather and report those the most accurately. So hopefully we'll have these details hammered out by the end of next week, but I wouldn't let any of this hinder your moving forward with this. As soon as you feel comfortable and ready, we can always go back and collect the data as needed. So as I mentioned, for the adults at this point, we're just going to focus on the one-time survey. If you've started a class where you've collected a lot of pre-surveys already and you feel like you're going to have people come back to the classes online, you can do the mid-series and the post-surveys if you'd like to try that. If you want to do that, reach out to me and we'll walk through that specifically. But I think for the most part, it's just going to be easiest, especially now, to just do the one-time surveys that are available. If this ends up going on for a much longer period and we see we're having a lot of the same followers coming to our classes, then we may revisit this. But for now, hopefully this will just be maybe a couple of months. I don't know. Any more than anybody else, but we'll just do the one-time survey. And there's actually a really great way you can go and do this using your PAIRS account. So I had created all of these surveys in Qualtrics, and then Heidi reminded me yesterday that we can actually generate and share a link right from PAIRS. So your participants would click the link, and then the survey would pop up, and then it would just be attached right to your program activity. So I'm going to share my screen and go into PAIRS. I'll send out detailed instructions on how to do this, but I want to just show you how easy it really is. So let me just pull that. Oh, oops. Pull this up. Claire, can you go draw, please? okay, we'll get a snack in a minute.
Casey,
It's 11 o'clock.
Casey, have Claire call me on the telephone.
Do you want to call Heidi? Okay, thanks, Heidi. Okay, let me set that up. Okay. Okay, go over there and talk to her over on the couch.
Wow.
Go, go, go. You okay? Oh. Okay, sure, something we're all dealing with. No? Okay. All right, so can you see my screen? So if you go into track and program activity, that's where I'm in now. You can, I'm just going to go through these screens really quickly. I'll send instructions on how we want you to do each of these sections. But I've put in my Facebook Live Series 1, my first session. I'm setting this up before I'm doing the class. That's an important part of this. But I won't put participants because I don't know how many people are going to attend yet. So that's just the first page. Your custom SNAP-ed data. So just like you do a regular program activity, entering your indicators and your curriculum, et cetera, et cetera. Program demographics. So you can actually just bypass this section because we don't know how many participants are in. So once you get here, you can just click over into the attached surveys. This is where you really want to be to generate the link to the survey before you do your Facebook Live class so that you can share it in the feed. What you'll do, I'll just do this from the start, is this, you'll select the survey you want, which would be the Create Better Health one-time survey. I'm still working on getting the Spanish versions into pairs. At this point, our Spanish-speaking educators have been collecting the Spanish ones and then entering them into the English version in pairs, but I'll get the Spanish ones in probably over the weekend so that you can share the appropriate language with your participants. But you click the survey you want to attach. It's a retrospective survey, the date delivered, say it's then. Okay, and then you hit save so that that survey is now attached to your program activity. And then you just go over here and click this little link icon and you can just copy and paste this link. Then if you share that link within your Facebook Live feed, or if you had email addresses or however you're reaching out to your participants, you can see here, oh, something's wrong here. There we go. They'll click on it and the survey pops right up. So then they'll just fill out this survey and it'll attach right to your program activity. So you don't have to go in and enter them. They'll just be right there. You'll be able to see how many people have responded to them. You won't be able to edit them at all. And then they'll just pop up. So it's actually a pretty nice system that we can use. And you can use that for any of your any of the surveys that are already in pairs. So if we do want to go ahead with some of your specific groups, if you're going to do the closed classes on like Zoom and you want to do the pre and the post surveys, you would just do the same exact thing. You just attach whichever survey it is you want to add. And then each time you could just share the same link. You wouldn't have to create a new survey if you're using the same survey each time. So you could just share that same link if you're doing a whole series of classes. I'm still kind of thinking about if we want to report each of these as a one-time program activity or if we want to kind of track them as a series. So I'll get back to you on that. So whether or not your program activity will just have one class associated with it, or if it will have 8 or however many you're doing in the series is something we're still kind of thinking about and deciding on the best way to do this, and also the most simplified way. We know that all of this is really stressful, so we are trying to do the best to meet our program requirements, but also have the flexibility and the I don't know, just sense of just doing what we need to do, but not a whole lot more than that right now. I see some questions popped up here, so I'm going to go back. Okay, Kate loves seeing the kids, everybody's kids. It is kind of fun. Casey, would we put that link in the video description? Yeah, if you do, like if you save your video to your feed after the fact, you sure can put that link into the video description. And you could just write a little, if you're viewing this after the fact, please take, you know, the survey is super short. It's probably 5 minutes or less to take this survey. Casey, can we finish up this series we already started? That's another question, Mariana, that I'm still kind of thinking about. I know you did the food, fun, and reading for a specific class. So I'm still just thinking about the best way to do that, because we probably won't know how many people actually viewed it that have started the series. So I think it's probably going to be best to start a new program activity for our online work. But let me continue to just kind of think about that, and I'll get back to everybody hopefully next week with all these details. Let's see, I had some other things. Let's see, okay. Okay, still working on the Spanish version. All right, any other questions about the pairs linking? And again, I'll send out really detailed instructions. Click here, do this, so that you have them to refer to as you're getting going. So like we said, if you do the shorter lesson or just a snippet of information, then you would track those as an indirect activity. So those are a great way to reach people as well. Just gonna stop my share here. Okay. As we're kind of moving through this, if there seems to be a need for it, I'll do a whole training on online evaluation for Facebook. I think probably communicating with just some instruction sheets will be adequate, but if there are needs, reach out to me. And if I'm getting a lot of questions, then I'll just go ahead and do one of these trainings. Candy said in the chat, if you give Candy a heads up on the date and time you're planning to go live, or that you've posted a video, she'll do the best to share them on the Create Better Health social media site. So that's an awesome support. And I really liked when Marta was talking about having someone that you're posting in the chat while you're presenting. So someone who can post the evaluation link or the resources. I think that's a great idea, just to think about working together. Reach out to another ambassador, even if you're the only one in your county, reach out to one in another county. Say, hey, I'm doing this live. Would you be able to do these things for me as I'm presenting? And they can go in and just post into the chat for you. A good way to utilize each other. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to add at this point. I don't think so. Again, we're still working out the details. Don't let it hold you back on getting in there, because I think all the analytics would save from the Facebook page. So you should still be able to go ahead and then go back and create your program activity after the fact. Kaylee asked, so does the second ambassador post with their personal account? I would guess probably. I don't know if two of you can be logged into the same page. I don't know. Jocelyn, do you know that? If both have like admin rights to their Create Better Health page, can one be presenting through the page and the other one be posting as, Create Better Health Utah County or whatever?
I don't know. So you're saying if you're like in Create Better Health Cash, if she's presenting on Cash, and then if Lara gets on and is answering as Cash?
Yeah, and like trying to post the links to the resources?
I would imagine yes. Yeah, my instinct is yes, because I know that some people are in there when I'm in there. We can both get in there and fiddle around. So I'm thinking that, yeah, since it's housed on the web, that people can both be in.
I also want to just remind you, you don't have to have a second person. People do live by themselves all day long. So it's just a different way of doing it. So don't feel like if you don't have someone there, you need someone there, because you don't have to have someone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like the interconnectedness doesn't require a third party. And and I also think that as you look in there and there's questions, or if anybody says anything, that's more reason to get them coming back, is to be like, check back and I will answer all your questions, and I'll post the recipe and I'll post a variation, making that more communicative. So that might be, yeah, if you have help, great. If you don't, that's still great.
Yeah, and if you have the, have your links ready and you can post them right at the beginning or at the end of the class, you can say, I'm going to go in and just post these right now, and then they can go in and click the link. So I think either way, whatever works the best for your situation. All right, so any questions about that? So again, main points, one-time survey. For now, just to ease everything, use the pairs feature so that they can link right to the survey and it gets attached right to your program activity. We're still looking at whether or not we're going to include them as a series of classes. Oh, the other thing I just wanted to mention was even if we're considering them all one-time classes, you will be able to choose any of the lessons. When we do one-time classes in person, we ask that you always do that first lesson. But we recognize that you may have a lot of the same people, so you can use any of the lessons as a single lesson. What you may want to do is just add an introduction to My Plate and an introduction to the physical activity guidelines, just a really brief intro and overview of them, so that if it is their first time watching, they have a context to put all of the information that you're going to talk about from the lessons into. All right, I think that's all that I have. Heidi, do you have anything else, or Marcia, or anyone else from our office, or other questions out there?
I just have a couple of things. I am just super impressed with everyone on how you are diving in and doing this work, and the resources that I'm seeing. So if you don't see me liking your county, come find me and send it to me so I can make sure that I am connected to you. I know Jocelyn's going to send out the list of which counties have, she probably already has, but which counties have social media sites and stuff so we can share them. You can also, if you're linked up to Instagram, you can make it so it connects through both channels. And so I just am really, really super excited about it. I appreciate you and your attitudes and working so hard, knowing that we are here supporting you. And that's ultimately what we want to do, is make sure you feel comfortable and feel supported. And that's all I have. Marcia, you have anything you want to follow?
Nope, I was just going to say thank you to everyone that's on. Make sure you put your name in the roll. And just a reminder, if you have questions, go through us at the state office first. Jocelyn's social media, go through her. And then if we don't have the answer, we'll reach out to Marta. But thank you. You're all amazing.